Alright, what's going on, guys? Your boy Tony Shen. Welcome back to another Melodic Monday where I break down melodies. Today we're going to talk about how to tune your 808 and match your 808 to like samples where you don't really necessarily know what key it's in, or maybe just something that you loop from like another song that you don't really know the key exactly. I'm going to teach you how to make your 808s perfectly in tune to whatever sample that you find. But before I kind of talk about it, first make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. It really means a lot to me that I can help grow my community and teach new waves of producers my knowledge that I have right now. So one, make sure to hit the subscribe button. And second, make sure to grab a free drum kit, Tony Shen Slap Pack Volume 1. It's in the link in the description below. You can just click it, you'll get the download link right away. Super easy. It's got some dope fire sounds in there. Another thing I wanted to talk about before I demonstrate in person how to tune your 808 perfectly to any sample, I just want to clear up one thing. Music theory. For some reason, for producers, music theory is like a really scary thing. And to be honest, I had classical music training before I started doing production really seriously. So I do have like an intermediate level of understanding with music theory. Like I know the ins and outs, and if someone talked music theory to me, I'd understand what they're talking about. But I don't really use it when it comes to actually making melodies and doing really simple things like finding the key of an 808. It does add an extra layer of understanding if you do know music theory, but it doesn't really make you any more creative, and it doesn't make your music stand out in any way more than just being a better musician and practice. Yes, music theory is important, and it is something that you should gradually learn over time, but it's not something that should hold you back and scare you away from making music. Because if you have really good ears, which is that's super important, right? If you just train your ears and start to understand music and just listen to more music, you'll be able to do the same things that someone who's super trained in music theory can do. That being said, I'm gonna get straight to the example. I'm gonna be working with a loop or a sample that I've never I don't know what the key is, and I'm gonna teach you. I'm gonna give a live demonstration of making an 808 melody that's perfectly in tune with any sample. All right, so here we have a sample. It's just some random loop that I pulled from somewhere. I don't know what key it's in. I'm gonna play it for you right now. So obviously we don't know what key it's in, and it's kind of hard to make an 808 melody if you don't know what key it's in, because you don't know where to place the notes. So I'm gonna teach you my systematic and like foolproof way of doing it. And all you really need are your two most important tools as a producer, as a musician in general. Your two most important tools, which is one, your ears, and two, your voice. So I'm gonna teach you how to use those two tools that you have on you. You just need your ears and your voice. I'm gonna show you exactly how to do it. So I'm gonna pick out an 808. I'm just gonna use the 808 that I have in my drum kit that you guys got in the link in the description anyways. So I'm just gonna use the Jones 808 just because I know the 808 itself is tuned to a C, so it saves us a lot of time. But first step, you just wanna tune your 808 in respect to itself, right? So what I mean by that is like when you play a note, you just wanna make sure that it's the right note. So how you can do that is Control E, and that opens up like the audio editor or the Edison. And then click this flag button and then click detect pitch regions, and then just make sure that this note is the same, like it says C2 right here, right? Just make sure that since it says C, it's also the same note as what's highlighted here. If it said D, then just do D instead. And then here, like if you click this, you can see all the note names. So if this, instead of C2 it said like D2, then just make sure that you highlight D so that it's the same note, that you're playing the same exact note. So since this says C, we're gonna highlight C. So that ensures that when you play a C here, it's also a C being played in like actual pitch. So that's the first step, really, just to tune the 808 itself. But once you have that down, second step is kind of like optional, but create an envelope that just makes it so that when you release the note itself, like it doesn't leak over to the next note. So like if I didn't have this envelope selected, every time I played a new note, it would just leak into the next note. That's just something I like to do, is create an envelope and then have everything turned down except for the hold, so that when you release the note, it doesn't leak into the next note. So that's kind of like the administrative stuff, like you're setting up everything. Now I'm gonna teach you how to actually tune your 808 perfectly to any sample or loop or whatever. And once you understand how to do it, You can do this with not just 808s, but like melodies, with anything else, right? So let's go to a pattern. So the first step is to listen. And then next step is to sing. So use your ears and your voice, right? So ba da 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 ba. So when you hear the note in your head, try to sing it a note to make it match. So ba da da. Just sing the melody of the loops, like ba da 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 da. And then when you sing it a couple times, you start to hear the note in your head, and that allows you to find the note on the piano roll that's the same note as the note being played in the sample. So so now you just have to try different notes and see which one matches based on when you're hearing and what you're singing. And then it helps. Obviously, the bass is like pretty low, right? It's like a low frequency, but it's harder to hear the pitch of things that are lower in frequency. So what you can do is just play it like at a higher octave or like a higher range, and then just pitch it back down when you actually, need to use it for the bass. So so that's a D. Right? That sounds like the note you sang. So that's a D, right? So now we have the first note. The rest is kind of just building your 808 bass melody in relation to the sample itself. So let's just come up with a really simple pattern, like a really simple rhythm. Like, I don't want to go too in depth with what you should do for the rhythm. This tutorial is mainly just to help you get everything in tune and get the melody correct. We're gonna do a rhythm tutorial some other time, but this is mostly like melody, so we're not gonna focus too much on like swings or like eighth notes or like 808 rolls or all that crazy stuff. This is just to make sure that all your notes are in tune when you do your bass. So so you also hear that note, right? Da da. So that's an A. So so when you hear it and when you sing it a couple times, you kind of get the idea of the melody down, and then it helps you a lot. Bum, bum, bum. You hear that new note? So the melody in the loop kind of changes. Excuse me. And then you have a new note, and the next step is kind of just to hear that new note and then find the right note in the 808 that matches that new note in the sample. Ba da 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 da. Bum. So maybe like a G here instead of an F, and then the F here comes in the second melody. So yeah, you can pitch it up even an octave higher. Bum 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 bum. So you kind of see how just by hearing the melody and then singing it to yourself a couple times, you can start to map out your own melody based on when you sing, because just the fact that your ears and your voice is working together allows you to picture the melody and then create the melody for the bass. I know this is kind of like a meta tutorial. It's not really like teaching you exactly step by step, but and obviously this takes practice. Like, you're not gonna just train your ear to do this in one day. It takes practice, but I'm kind of teaching you how to do things in the long run, because like if you understand how to hear certain melodies in your head and how to sing it to kind of give you the assurance and like test out certain melodies by singing certain notes and then matching it into the piano roll. Like, once you able to do that, it'll take you a really long way. Like, you could do this with literally any sample. Like, if especially, this is especially useful when you're collabing with other producers and they send you a melody, and a lot of times they don't label their melodies correctly and they don't tell you the key signature. Don't worry, man. Like, it doesn't matter. You get, as long as you have your ears and your voice working together, being able to, listen and then match the note based on what you hear, then you're fine. And notice how we didn't use any music theory when doing this. All we did was use our voice and our ears to kind of match the note to the sample just by using our ears and our voice. This is what happens when you pitch it down, right? It's like, a regular a bass level frequency. Like, tune. And let's add some drums, like, so yeah, that's pretty much the entire tutorial. I could have gone a lot more in depth, especially with music theory, and then teaching you note names and how to like intervals and different stuff like that. But I just don't think that's necessary. I don't think that telling you this stuff is gonna benefit you that much in the long run. I think what's gonna help you ultimately develop as a better producer and just a better musician in general is understanding how to use your ears and your voice, and understanding how to find certain melodies and create certain patterns in the melody by just using your ears and listening, and then using your voice to kind of test out and then just kind of guess and check whether each note works or not. I think that's going to benefit you a lot more in the long run. So that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. If you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button. It really means a lot to me. And also get that free drum kit. Thank you so much. Peace.